Good afternoon, everybody on YouTube. This is Rick Thomas from Obsolete Video Services. Hey guys. All right, today I wanted to make a video because basically I had something done that might interest you people out there and give you guys a good idea of what it takes to work on these Ampex machines. Of course, you know, I'm working on a restoration here, which is an Ampex VR 7500. And got several things I got to fix on this, especially the rubber parts, which I didn't have, and I had to send away and actually get redone by a guy who actually does this. Pretty expensive. It's not cheap to get done. Anyways, these Ampex machines, the biggest problem with these Ampex machines is the rubber parts. When you find these machines, especially when you find those big Ampex machines, those particular ones, the Type A machines, 9 times out of 10, the rubber is completely shot. The belts, the tires, even the capstan rollers are all degraded and falling apart. All right, I just had a couple things done. Cost me quite a bit of money. It wasn't cheap. This guy is not doing it very often, and he's pretty much the only one that does do it, but charges a lot of money, and he's going to be ending his service real soon because I guess he's an older gentleman and there's going to be no sources to do this anymore. So I'm slowly sending out my parts to get done to him before he does retire, and I wanted to show you guys a few things. Of course, I was speaking about tires, guys. He cut me some tires for these pulleys, and these are gigantic pulleys. Okay, so I got a bunch of tires being cut, actually about 10 of them, because I want to make sure I have some spares. I do have to send this thing off, not the capstan roller, just the actual pulley. This is the pulley that gets driven by a motor, which turns your capstan roller on your Ampex machine, which is this particular machine. And we're talking about the VR series, guys, the Type A's, okay? So you don't get confused what type of Ampex machine I'm talking about. And anyways, I have to get a couple of these rebuilt. As you can see, it's the brown stuff from the 60s or, you know, mid 60s, and this stuff is hard as a rock. It's not cracked or falling apart. It's as hard as a rock. It's not very slick, and it's not any good. So I'm going to get those rebuilt. I'm going to send these little spools into him to redo. Okay, so let's talk about what it's like to work on Ampex machines. It's not an easy thing to do. There's a lot of work involved, and getting one of these machines working is almost impossible. There just isn't any parts available. So you have to spend a lot of money to redo one of these. And on top of it, there's no available video heads. For me, I'm kind of lucky for the position that I'm in. I have spare heads for my machines, but there really isn't any video heads for these machines. So that's strike one right there to even bother working on a machine like that, because these video heads didn't last no more than 500 hours or less, and by the time you find one of these machines, the heads are either broke or they're wore out. So that's strike one to even bothered working on these machines. All right, and strike two would be the rubber parts, and then the big job is the electronic restoration of the whole thing, which is a real pain in the ass. All right, so let's show you something real quick. Here is a capstan roller, which I did have rebuilt. It's brand new. As you can see, he did a fantastic job. Look at that, all brand new rubber, brand new, fantastic job. I had this redone, and this is what it looked like before I got it done. I don't know if you guys can see that. Look at all that shit. This is crazy. This is what happens to rubber when it sits for all these years. Look at this stuff. I could break it off with my fingers. There's nothing left of it. I mean, the rubber that they used on these things just degraded to nothing. Look at that. Okay? These are extra pivot wheels to be redone. And basically, I had the one rebuilt. I'm sending these two off to them to redo these. These capstan rollers are very important. If you don't have real good ones, you ain't going to have a really good working machine. But at least I have two brand new spindles to have rebuilt. And the rubber is completely fell apart on this. Look at this crap. I keep telling people how important rubber belts and tires and things are. It's very important to have that done, because when you end up with shit like this, you're you got a machine that's virtually useless to you. It's going to be sitting in the corner, and it's never going to work. That's the problem with having bad rubber rollers and belts and tires on these old vintage machines. You know, if you can get new stock, or even if you're lucky enough to get it rebuilt and pay a fortune to have it done, you're better off to do that. But like I said, I'm sending some of my Ampex parts out because I do need extra rubber tires. I want to get the 2 spindles, capstan roller spindles fixed, and I have a couple more capstan rollers I want to have rebuilt. I thought you guys would like to see this. This is what this stuff looks like after 50 plus years. I mean, it's just turns to goo. And that's what happens to these tires on here as well. They fall apart. And same thing with these rubber tires on these. They fall in a million little chunks, and whenever you find these machines, they ain't worth the shit. So I thought you guys would find this to be pretty interesting. When you do a complete rebuild on vintage old machines like this, keep in mind you're going to spend a ton of money. You better be very good at what you do, because these things are not easy to fix, and you got to have a lot of parts. You know, bearings, sometimes the motors go bad. You know, all new capacitors have to be done on these. So keep in mind, it's not an easy fix. Ampex was a real pain in the ass machine to work on. So I hope you guys enjoy this video.